Greetings of peace, Om Shanti. So we have not only one angel, all of you are angels. So I like to welcome all of you from my heart that you have taken the time out today, this evening, to come, be with us and enjoy the topic. The topic is very interesting nowadays, this topic, very popular, inner stability at the time of disaster. And we have perfect speaker from London, Sister Jayanti, who will really talk the real thing, what is stability. And I'm sure this evening you will enjoy a lot being with Sister Jayanti. We will also enjoy with all of you. Once again, welcome. Om Shanti.
You're welcome to ask later. And after the question answers, we will end with the meditation, and then everybody will come to receive some gifts. Thank you. Over to Jayanti.
There's a song. Can you hear me at the back? Shalu, can you hear me? It's a pleasure to be here with all of you again. I'm recognizing some people who I've been meeting through many decades, but also many, many new friends are here. Today's news sets the scene for today's topic. When we set the topic, we didn't know what was going to be in the news today, but we know that constantly there's something or another that keeps happening. And so, how do we prepare for all of these things? Can we say that we can prepare for any eventuality that may happen? Whether it's a natural disaster, or whether it's an act of terrorism, or it's another financial crash that happens. Can I say personally that I'm ready? Probably I'm a little bit scared. But think about how, if you're preparing for an exam, you know what the examination is going to be about, you know your subject, but still, before the exam, you prepare. Even if it's just a driving test, you prepare for that exam too. If you're going to be participating in a sports event, it takes a lot of rehearsal and preparation time. So now that we have this understanding that anything may happen at any time, anywhere, I mean, Nice is a very pleasant city, very beautiful, and people go on holiday, people are there for celebration, and the last thing you would expect is to be in the middle of a terrorist act. And when the news first broke, they just said a lorry had come crashing through, and then later it became clear that it was actually terrorism and not just anything else that had happened. So we can now mentally prepare ourselves and say that, yes, this is the state of the world. I can't ignore the fact that all of these things are happening, and they may happen to me wherever I may be at a particular time. It's preparation time. How can I prepare? If I'm nervous and afraid, at that moment of crisis, I really don't know what to do, because my fear will create confusion. Do I stay? Do I run? Do I go? Where do I go? Which direction do I go in? But if I've created an inner state of stability today, then I know that whatever may happen, I have the inner resources to be able to cope with it. And I think that's the key word, the inner resources. You know what happens at a time of crisis? The first thing that gets cut are the telephones. can't call the one you love. You can't ask for help. Who do you turn to? I know that some of you believe in God. I know that some of you might have questions about God. I know that some of you might just think about a higher power, whoever, whatever. At a time of crisis, the only one I can depend on is actually the one above. And I can't at that moment start a new relationship with that one. I won't know where to begin, I won't know where to go or how to set about it. But if now I can look into the future and I can see that many things can happen, anything can happen, and I have this preparation time, what I need to do is to create such a preparation that I have confidence in myself that I can deal with it with help from above, no matter what may come. Is that a possibility or is that a false hope? I sincerely believe that it's possible. Why? Because a relationship can begin today. If I choose to have a relationship, it doesn't take long to start it and then continue to develop it and sustain it. So my relationship with that one can begin right now. And maybe I already have a relationship. But maybe I don't quite know how to connect with that one whenever I want. And so there's a formula. It's a very simple formula. And I'll tell you in 3 words. Inwards, upwards, and outwards. When I go inwards, I connect with the inner being that I am. When I go upwards, in that awareness of who I truly am, I'm able to connect with the source of love, of light, of truth. And having taken that power within myself, I can then come back and go out and deal with whatever is the situation that is in front of me. But I've developed the capacity to be able to deal with it. And so 3 little words are the formula for inner stability. Inwards. If I'm looking at things from an external situation, then I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, and how I'm going to react to it. But if I look at myself on the inner level, then I know that, yes, I can draw all the resources I need from up above. And so, let me learn how to do that right now. Coming to the awareness of the being that I am inside, I can't understand myself on the inner level until I've created a space of silence. The mind, the human mind, is extremely busy. It's just constantly moving all the time. Even when the body is resting during sleep, it's very rare for the mind to be resting even then. Because what I've experienced through the day is being processed, it's coming up as dreams, or I don't even remember those dreams maybe, or if I do remember those dreams, they're a bit disjointed and not making a lot of sense. But just an indication that the mind is still continuing with its activity, even during the hours of rest. And so, is there a moment when the mind can stop? It can't stop with force. You can't make your mind become silent. But what you can do is start going inside, watching your thoughts, and allowing the space between the thoughts to become longer and longer. And it is in that space of silence that I can connect with the inner being that I am and experience my own original natural state of peace. How can I have stability without peace? And so the first thing that I need to tap into is my own peace. And in that peace, when I'm turning my attention inwards, something else very beautiful happens that normally doesn't. And the mind is busy, busy, busy. Am I able to listen to what another person is trying to tell me? My mind is so busy that I'm occupied here and I'm not really giving full attention to what the other person wants to say. What is the cause of so many misunderstandings today? How often have I had to say, sorry, I misunderstood? Or how often have other people said to me, I'm really sorry there was such a misunderstanding that created such complications, I wish it hadn't happened. And because of lack of clarity on both sides usually, but also my own lack of clarity, and then further, my inability to focus and give my attention to the other, undivided attention, and something escapes me, something slips by, and there's a lot of time taken to create a space for healing that needs to happen later. Why I'm mentioning the whole subject of communication with human beings, because that's difficult enough. And so is it any wonder that we haven't been able to communicate with the divine? It's very interesting that there are some who maybe don't believe, but there are some who do believe, but yet most of those people will also say, at the time that I pray, or at the time that I try to focus my thoughts on God, I can't do it. All sorts of things come crowding in and occupying my attention. You don't have to tell me, but I know that this is the reality. The most frequently asked question is, how can I make my mind still? And the way to be able to do it is to go on this inner journey. And until I've connected with my own inner peace and allowed my mind to become silent, my mind is too occupied, too engaged to be able to experience the subtle presence of the divine. It's only through this inner silence that I'm able to connect with the one above. And so, power. Think about stability and you think about something that's stable, that's powerful, that's immovable, unshakable. No matter how many storms or tempests may come, but that which is stable will not shake at that moment. And yes, it's possible for me to achieve a state like that. It truly is. And I've seen it happen. And I've seen situations. I'll give you two little examples. 9/11, and at that time, one of our brothers was on the 67th floor in the second tower. He's a mechanical engineer, and he was there with the New York Ports Authority, so their building, their offices were in that building. The first tower had crashed, and nobody knew exactly what had happened, but disaster. And the tannoy, it was an open plan office, and so about 100+ people all working there together, early in the morning, first thing. The tannoy is telling people, Please stay calm, stay where you are, don't move, please stay where you are. They're trying to prevent a mad rushing crowd and chaos and panic, of course, you can understand that. But this brother, he heard the tannoy and he went into silence. He's a practiced meditator. And in that silence, the signal he was getting is move. And he stood up and he told whoever was able to hear him, I'm going to try and go down. I don't know what I'll encounter along the way, but if anybody wants to come, please join me. About 25 people joined him out of about 100. And this troop came down. It was dark. Some places there was water leaking, pipes had burst. Some places there were wires, but however it happened, they managed helping each other to come down. They came out of the building, and literally within minutes, the building collapsed. And he then took them to our center in Manhattan, just to be able to have a moment of calm and a hot drink. And we keep hearing about earthquakes here and there, and here you hear about them a lot. This is a story about Greece, and this sister working in a publishing company. She's at her desk, it's on the first floor, and when it's around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so the office is full. And when the earth begins to shake, they suspect that's what it is. It's not usually an area that gets earthquakes, but this is happening. And some people get up and they want to go. And they see her sitting at the desk, very quiet. They know she's a meditator. She's sitting very calmly. She doesn't need to say anything, but because she's sitting calmly, they also decide they will sit. And they sit. And a minute or so, that's about how long these things last for. That passes, and everything is quiet, and they then leave the office after that. So do I stay? Do I go? Do I run? Do I stop? What do I do? It's not a human being who can tell me. Everybody's opinions will be many, varied and manifold. But if I can go inside and connect upwards, I'll get the right signal, and I'll know what decision it is I have to make. Maybe it's based on logic and reason, but somehow I don't think so. At that moment, you don't have enough information to base it on logic. It really is a signal that comes from above. And so I know for a fact that at this time when we're seeing so much happening in the world around us, we know that at any moment it could be me. There, but for the grace of God, go I. And so let me prepare today. Let me be able to keep connecting with my own inner peace. When we use this word Om Shanti, Om means I am. It's a sound that comes from deep down within. Om, I am. Shanti, who am I? Whatever is the name of the body, the nationality of the body, whatever is the gender, whatever is the age, that's not me. Om, I am, Shanti, peace. It's a very beautiful introduction to the self, but it's also the way to connect with every other human being, because it's not just me that's Om Shanti, it's you also. Each one is Om Shanti. Our original state of being is that of peace. So how come we are not very peaceful? I was earlier describing how the mind is racing all the time. But think about what sort of thoughts you're having. Most of the time, your thoughts are connected with the world out there. When was the last time you had a moment of reflection and you were able to connect deeply with your own inner world? Can you remember when was the last time you did this? Well, hopefully you can. But surely this is something that I need to be in touch with, not just on a daily basis, I would say on a moment-to-moment basis. Because when I'm in touch with myself, the being that I truly am, then what is going to be expressed is going to be authentic. It's going to be sincere. It's going to come from the inner being. I'm connected with myself. Not only do I have peace, but I have all the other resources, the inner treasures that lie within. But firstly, yes, peace. Very much what each one is looking for. And while we've been focusing on the world outside, we've forgotten that the treasures are inside. And the world outside is constantly in a state of flux. How long can you guarantee that the people you're working with are going to be the people you're going to carry on working with over the next year, the next 5 years, or even the next week? No idea. People, companies used to make scenarios, governments used to make 5-year plans. I don't hear that anymore. Somebody working in the banking sector told me, we can't even make scenarios for 6 months ahead. Never mind a year ahead or 5 years ahead, but not even 6 months ahead. You don't know what's going to happen. Anything unpredictable may become the reality of our time. And so while I'm focused out there, there's constant movement, constant change. That's not going to give me stability. But when I go inside, yes, then I can find the treasures that truly belong to me. And when I learn to access them by allowing my mind to go in and become quiet, then these treasures within are there with me as the stable force that's going to help me at every moment. Not just at a time of crisis, but surely if I have a stable state of being, others can trust me. If I'm unstable, my friends will say, be my friends, but they'll say, well, you know, I'm not quite sure what sort of mood I'm going to find her in. Maybe she'll be open and ready, maybe she'll be closed and it'll be a problem. And so stability is something I need at all times, but especially at a time of disaster. Peace allows me to experience the presence of the divine, and the connection with the divine is important not only for peace. I can discover that going inwards. But the connection with the divine brings me the love that I seek. It brings me the joy that's so much needed in life. It brings me power. And I'm talking about an inner spiritual power. The word power is a bit misleading. And usually we don't like anybody who exercises power. We don't mind to control others, but we don't like anyone controlling us. And most times we say, I don't control. And yet, of course, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm wanting to control everything that's around me. And I'll say, you know, what about what others are doing, but I need to be in charge of what's within my own environment. Equally control. And today I can't do that. I can't control the things around me anymore. There's just too many things going on. So power is not about control issues, but spiritual power is the power to be able to discern, the power to have the clarity with which to be able to understand what is below the surface. On one level, on the superficial level, it seems to be one thing, but the feeling that I'm getting is something else. And I'm sure you've often been in that situation where something's happening and there's something telling you that there's actually something deeper going on than is visible. Or you meet an individual, and again, the words they're saying are quite okay, but again you get a sense that there's something else deeper. And the power that comes from above is the power of clarity, the power that allows me to have the ability to discern, so that I can see below the surface. And of course, the more clarity I have, the easier it will be to make a decision that I'm comfortable with, not just today, but tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. How often is it that you've made a decision and a few hours later even maybe, you say, well, you know, I didn't know about this. If I'd known about this, then I wouldn't have made that decision. My decision would have been something else. So on the external level, there'll never be a situation where I have all the facts in front of me to be able to decide something. A lot will have to depend on my own inner intuition. But the clarity to be even able to connect with that intuition, that comes from the power that comes from above. I need to be able to know where it is I have to stand up for my rights, and where it is I can say, never mind, it's okay, I can live with this. I don't have to spend too much of my energy fighting this. It's okay. Where's the dividing line between that? One situation and the other situation. This is really important, and I'm going to stand my ground over this. And this one, it's okay. Let it be the choice of the other. I don't have to spend time and energy on this. It's not worth it. And with spiritual understanding, you begin to understand that one is just a question of choice. Maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. But the other is a question of principle. And where it's a matter of principles, there I stand my ground, and I will not move. But in the other side, where it's a question of choices, well, if today I'm flexible and I accept your choice, my hope is that tomorrow you'll be flexible and you'll accept my choice. If today I'm stubborn and I say it has to be like this, maybe today you'll accept it, but you won't carry on accepting it if I keep doing that every day. But it's not worth a fight. It really isn't. It's choice, and it's okay. I can be flexible with it, and I can move with it. Sometimes I need to have the ability to take the cooperation from others. They are offering help, they're offering cooperation, but my ego comes in the way and I say, no, 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 I'll do it on my own. You know how a child will say, I want to do it, I want to do it. And yes, it's great that the child wants to be independent, but at times it's also useful to take the hand of the mother and take that little bit of support. But especially when you're working with others, let me be able to learn how to cooperate with others so that it's not my responsibility on my shoulders and it becomes a burden. But I take cooperation, I give cooperation, and there's an easy, light energy that flows. And that happens when I let defenses of my ego down. And while the ego defenses are still high, I want to do it, and I want to do it my way. But with the power of cooperation, so much more can happen than I could do on my own. And so that power that comes is a power that brings with itself many, many different aspects that are very valuable here and now at this moment, while life is maybe still a little bit okay and comfortable. I know it's creating a disturbance, but try and ignore it and let it settle down as it will. And so the power that we get from the one above is a very special type of power. It's a power that's enabling us to manage things in a better way than we could otherwise, here and now in our life. And so connecting with the one above gives me that access. It also gives me another very different capacity. You know, you have meditations for relaxation, you have meditations for concentration, you have meditations for good health, all sorts of things. But this particular meditation is meditation for this connection with the powerhouse, the source. And the power that this gives me is to give me freedom, a very specific type of freedom, the freedom from the habits that I don't want anymore, and the freedom to be able to choose the qualities that I would like to develop within myself. Why? Because I'm now connected with the source of all positive attributes. And that connection means that I can draw each one of those qualities within myself that I know that I'm lacking, so that my personality can be developed in an all-round way. But also, I know that there are habits that I want to get rid of, and I'm not quite managing. I've tried once, I've tried twice, I've tried several times, and maybe now I've come to the point where I say, well, you know, what's the point of trying to give it up? I keep coming back to it again and again. The beautiful thing is that as you draw that power within yourself, it becomes very, very easy to change the habits that I would like to change. Or even on the other side, there are patterns of behavior or life that I would like to develop. And somehow I don't have the will, I don't have the determination to be able to make it happen. But again, that power allows me to develop those also. So in different ways, I can draw that power within myself. And what's happening is that it's like the light of the sun. It gives energy, it gives strength, and it allows that which is within the seed to be able to germinate and flower to its most beautiful potential. And so within the soul, there is not only peace, but there is truth, there is love, there is joy. But again, I'm looking out there for all of these things. I've forgotten that it's inside. And so silence teaches me to go in, but also to connect. And the light of love that comes from above allows those qualities of goodness which have become hidden to be expressed again. They emerge in a very beautiful way so that I start using them in my life. And the more I use them, the easier it becomes. Have you tried giving love? Try it. Try taking love from above and giving it. And what you'll find is that it becomes easier and easier. It's not an effort, it's not a struggle. You don't have to think too much about it, but it happens naturally. Have you tried giving happiness to others? Well, again, if I'm looking for it myself, and I think by going shopping or by going here or going there, I'm going to find it, I'm disappointed. It doesn't quite work. But I allow the light of the one above to touch me, and my own inner joy emerges, and I'm able to share and give that to others. What do you think the feedback will be? What happens with the boomerang? Action, and it comes right back to you. I give love, and it'll come back. I give happiness, and it'll come back. What has all this got to do with stability? It's all very much part of the same story. Because the emptiness that we feel today is because we're not connecting with that love and joy that is within the self. And that makes us insecure. And so I wonder, what does my future hold? What happens if I become sick? What will happen in 10 years' time? Will I be on my own? Will I be alone? But as I know more and more about myself and allow that one to touch me and guide me, I discover all of these treasures, and these treasures multiply and grow. And that is part of my stability also. Think about a bean jar. And when the bean jar is completely full, try shaking it. Will the beans inside shake? They're so tightly packed that they won't shake. There won't be any sound. There also won't be any movement. You can turn the bean jar upside down, but no movement, no sound. The bean jar half empty, and there'll be some movement, some sound. A bean jar almost empty, a lot of noise, a huge amount of movement, but very few beans are there. And so it feels a little bit that's what's happened to the human spirit. A lot of noise, a lot of movement, turbulence, very little stability, but very little strength inside. And I'm not talking about one or two or a few individuals. I'd say this is generally the state of the world and most human beings. And so the stability comes as I discover those treasures, and I'm becoming more and more full. I'm filling myself both from above, but also all the treasures within are emerging and are really filling me with that strength and stability. Confidence in the self. When I know I have these treasures within me, I know I can deal with anything. Confidence, maybe the word faith comes in. Faith in the divine. I'm developing a relationship with that one, and I know that I can reach the one above with one thought. That's it. The amount of time you take to press all the numbers to reach the person you want to is longer. But just one thought, go in and go up, and that one thought, and you're able to make contact. But I know that I've connected, and so that connection is working. It's possible. If I've not tried connecting, I don't have that confidence and I don't have the faith. But I keep connecting, and I see the results, and I know that any moment, wherever I am, I can push the button and make that contact, and all that I need is again going to be available. And And so I don't need to be afraid or insecure about whatever the future may bring, whatever tomorrow may bring, or even the rest of today may bring. But also, have you noticed that if you make life your friend, life treats you well? Sometimes we think that life is our enemy and we're fighting life. And so whatever it is that seems to be emerging in the flow of life, we keep fighting it and wanting something else. Stress is when I'm here, but I want to be there. Stress is when there are many choices, but I don't have the wisdom with which to make my choice. And so, whatever happens in life, am I able to see it in the best way possible and say, this is exactly how it's meant to be, and now I can choose what to do next. It's up to me. And if I can do that, I can start making life become my friend. We use the word drama for life. The word drama has been used in writings, in plays, in poetry, in scriptures. It's come up as an image in many places. But think about yourself as part of this unlimited world drama, and every moment a different scene coming in front of you, and each moment another part of the tapestry of the drama is opening up, and you're seeing so many different things going on. Whatever is coming in front of me, it's coming for a purpose. It's coming to carry me forward. It's coming to teach me something. And if I start viewing life in this way, as my friend, drama, my friend, then I'm constantly taking benefit. And I know that what comes tomorrow will also surely be of benefit. It's not going to be something that's malevolent, it's going to be benevolent. There'll always be benevolence within the drama. It's carrying me forward. It's very interesting that one of the big issues of our time, and I don't know how many people knew it 10 years ago, but it's been around on the scene since the 70s, but I only became aware of it in the early 90s. But many people were in denial, but today I think the denial has stopped. I'm talking about the issue of climate change. And what's interesting for me is to see how the whole area of climate change and people involved in all of this are now actually in a position where, yes, you see the natural disasters happening, but there's a very interesting connection that people are making. Consciousness has a lot to do with climate change. And where we've been unaware and we've exploited nature, we've set about a chain of reactions, and we're seeing the results today. But having seen what's going on, it's making people really understand that human beings are responsible. Our attitude and our awareness and the way we've treated the world around us has created this situation. And if we've created it, it's also possible for us to bring about a change and transform it. Changes don't happen in terms of nature overnight. It took a long time, a few hundred years, to get it to this position. So it's not going to change within a day or a year, but we can start moving in the right direction. And so knowing that even what is happening there is a big lesson, a big signal for us brings me that inner stability which confirms for me that drama is truly benevolent. Life is benevolent. So I just had a quick look to see what time it is, and the clock races very quickly. But I hope I've given you a few thoughts on this whole subject of how to be able to help the self, because nobody else can help me in these conditions. It's me and one above. And I hope that there's enough information there for you to maybe want to follow up with it and discover more information, more details, or even now maybe comments and questions. Sorry about that.
Too much energy in the atmosphere, I think. Positive energy. So, we would like to hear so much more from Jayantiben, I'm sure. This is really not enough. But I also think that there might be somebody in the crowd who would like to ask something, or maybe comment on what she said, or get more clarity. And I really request you to say something, ask or comment, because when you say, she'll clarify it, and then some more people also will get clarification. So I'll come around with the mic if you want to say anything. Anyone? It's a good time. Whether it's from the Japanese side, English speaking side, anyone is fine. Whatever you've heard, something that you think you might want to know more, or you have a new question.
Thank you very much, Jayantiben, for a very, very informative talk. My question is related to the habits part. You said when you connect upwards, you get rid of the habits which you have been trying to get rid of. So I want a clarification. Yes, there are habits which we know they are bad and we want to get rid of them. But I feel all of us sometimes have bad habits which we are not aware of. So if we focus on the habits which we are aware of, we'll get rid of them. That part is very clear. How about the habits which we are not aware of and we don't focus about getting rid of them? Will they get automatically be driven off, or what should we do about them?
Thank you for having the courage to be the first one to ask. It takes courage to break the ice. When you go on this inner journey, can you hear me?
I can hear.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
When you go on this inner journey, you get into the habit of being able to see yourself very clearly, because normally we don't have this practice of going inside to see what's going on in our own inner world. And the practice of going inside means that I'm able to see myself more and more. So things that I wasn't aware of earlier on, I do become aware of. Or maybe even something else happens. Those who are close to me have been trying to give me a signal, and I haven't been willing to listen. I've been putting up a block. But maybe as they see me change, they're ready to be very open with me, because they can see that I'm in the process of that movement, and so they're ready to help me change also by letting me know. So it's not that it sort of automatically just happens, but you become aware of it. You're more accepting when others give you a signal also. And so, it's like when you're cleaning. When you start cleaning, maybe you don't realize how deeply ingrained the dirt has become. You clean, and more, and more, and more. And then finally you get there and you say, now, yes, this is really sparkling. So the same thing happens with the soul. You start cleaning and you discover there's more to be done, more to be done. And so you keep going.
Anyone else?
I'm more interested to know climate change and consciousness.
Climate change and consciousness, she would like to know.
The situation that has led us here is where we've had a very limited consciousness about our own identity, and it's been focused on the physical aspects. When I'm asked to introduce myself, I talk about age and gender and nationality and all of these things. So it's a very limited perspective. It actually tells you nothing about who I truly am. But this is my identity. That's how I think it is. And in that limited consciousness, our vision has been very materialistic. I'm associating myself with matter, and my materialistic vision and attitude has also been part of the whole subject of consumerism. And I thought that it's taking from the world outside that's going to make me happy. And so we thought that there can be unlimited growth and we can carry on living the way that we are, just exploiting the reserves of the universe. And so we've come to a point where we've depleted the reserves. And so now we're facing this situation. We've had such a huge impact on the environment. And so our limited consciousness, materialism, consumerism, and the destruction of our home. And we see the devastation we have created today. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is when my consciousness is limited to the physical without being in touch with the inner being, then of course I don't have any peace. And not only am I wanting to take happiness from outside, which is not possible, but also because I lack peace, I've become aggressive and violent. And so the violence we've committed against nature, say for example when you see trees, you don't realize that there is life in those trees also, that they're actually a very vital part of our whole habitat. And you think, okay, if I cut the trees down, I'm going to get some money. Yen and dollars and pounds, that's what I'm seeing. And so we've managed to cut down huge numbers of trees, millions and millions and millions. They say that even today, still, a space as big as a football pitch and several football pitches, still the forests in the Amazon are being cut down to that extent. So for the sake of money, we're cutting down trees and we're cutting down the lungs of the earth. We've ourselves done this because of our very limited physical consciousness. And when I value who I am as an inner being, I'm connected with the truth within, and I see myself in that way, then I come to a state of dignity. I respect myself. I'm able to respect other people. I'm able to respect the laws of the country in which I live. I'm able to respect other forms of life. I'm able to respect nature itself. And where we haven't had respect, where there's been aggression and violence, it's a direct result of our limited consciousness where we are not in touch with the self. So you can see now how the way we think and behave, limited consciousness and the effect of that, and where I turn inwards and know myself, a very different approach to life and the world.
We are very lucky to have you here, and you have enlightened few things which I could not think of it. And I think many persons like me must be being enlightened with things, you know. And you explained in a very nice way, very, very intelligent, and I'm thankful, and God bless. And we thank God also who has sent you here. Thank you.
Oh, yes. So, hand here somewhere.
Om Shanti. May I speak Japanese? Thank you. So, 内的に自分を見るということの大切さは私も学んで、それによって私の汚らしさがだんだんきれいになってきた経験をしています。
So I have learned the importance of what you said just now, to how to go inside and gradually remove all the dirt and the dirty things that I have inside me. Important, the way you have taught us just now. I have learned that, and I really feel that is so important.
それで他の人たちに、内面を見る、自分に触れるということが皆さん難しいとおっしゃるんです。どのようにしたら自分の内面に触れることができるでしょうか。これが質問です。
So the question is, most people say that it's very difficult to go internally, this word to go internally. How to do it? That's what the question many people have. They think they should, but they don't know how to do it, and they think it's very difficult to do.
Maybe three things needed. First is my own interest, and the second is information, and the third is practice. And so my interest, all of you are interested, so you've made time to be here this evening. Information. When I understand that as a human being, there are two things working together. There's the human, the body, and then there's the being that is in the body and is making the body function, but is actually separate to this body. And we can get all the information we want about the body very easily. All of that is available. But to get information about the being inside, how the mind works, what is the connection of the mind with thoughts, with feelings, the connection with personality, memory, awareness. These are subjects that we sometimes wonder about, but feel maybe they're too difficult and complicated to approach. But spirituality, and especially the teachings of Raj Yoga, gives such a clear, simple explanation of all of these things that even within the space of 3 hours, 1 hour each day, and you're able to get to know the self very, very clearly. And then, of course, it's up to me to practice however much it is I want. But the understanding, the information is very clear and simple. And even the information about the divine. Again, we are used to having so much complicated philosophy put at us that it leaves us confused. But again, a lot of clarity and simple information. And I would definitely recommend that people follow up and find out more about soul, the Supreme Soul, and the formula for meditation in a deeper way. 3 hours, that's all. Not asking you for your life.
Anyone else? Looks like you're thinking very hard, everybody. So just come on with it. Karen, do you have something?
Maybe
Something.
people want to experiment with meditation.
Sure. She's the best person to ask if you have anything to ask.
I'll comment without microphone.
I'm about to embark on, I really want to live a more sustainable life, but I feel a frustration with companies. There's so much out there and just a lack of awareness. As I become more aware, people just not knowing any better, and how can one person help others to become more aware of how to live a more sustainable life.
Influence. We forget how much we're able to influence others. And whatever it is you do, others are watching you. Others will see and will be impacted by that. And so starting with the self is the only way to bring about change. I can't change you, but I can change myself. But as you see the change in me, it will raise questions in your own mind, and you'll want to find out more, and things spread. Really, they do. Think about how many people you're in touch with. Not just the people you work with, not just the people who are your friends, not just your family, but just meeting them as a commuter on the transport every day. You see a few faces the same, and you smile at them, they start smiling back at you, or maybe it's a bit scary to smile. But anyway, you make some sort of contact. Your dentist, your doctor, your optician. There's a whole range of people you're in touch with. And so, as I change, people notice those changes. They see your change in diet. Diet is a big thing. Transportation is a big thing. And as I make my choices with understanding, with awareness, others ask the question, why, what, how? And the word begins to spread around.
Last one. On that side, anybody?
It's true, I don't think anyone from this side has asked a question.
Yes, so I think we have to have at least one person from this side, because otherwise it's not balanced.
One person to represent the
Anyone
whole.
here? Either you can comment, you can ask a little bit more.
You said that the mind, you have to make the mind still, and to increase the space, that's the time when you connect to the divine. I would just like, my question is, how do you increase the intensity of the spaces? When your mind is really running a lot, how do you still focus?
When you start looking at your thoughts, just the fact of looking at your thoughts slows down the speed. Otherwise you're not aware and it's just racing. But you say to yourself, okay, let me watch what's going on in my mind. And as soon as you say that, the mind begins to slow down a little. And when the mind slows down, you can be selective. And then you can say, okay, rather than this thought and this one and this one, can I have the thought of peace? And you pick up the thought of peace, and you hold peace in your mind, even just for a moment, and it'll begin to create a feeling within you, and you'll be able to go deeper inside yourself and connect with peace. We'll experiment. I think this is the last question, and so we'll experiment in just a moment and you'll see how it works. But but I need to keep practicing this. And I keep needing to remind myself that I am the creator of my own thoughts. My thoughts aren't coming to me just randomly. I'm the creator. And it's time to take charge of what's going on within my own creation. We're not usually connecting this in our heads that we are creating these thoughts. And so if I'm the creator of something, surely instead of using my pen in this direction, I can use my pen in this direction. I'm the creator. So when I said to find out more about all these things, I could tell you, but I wouldn't be able to help you deeply understand just in an introduction in this way. But there's a lot of very beautiful knowledge about the self that you can come and find out. But for me, one of the most interesting things is to know I create my own thoughts, I create my own feelings. And my thoughts and my feelings are directly linked. The quality of my thoughts will determine the quality of my feelings. And just imagine how free you become. I don't have to wait for someone else to make me happy. My own thoughts can create feelings of happiness within myself. Free, independent.
So I would request Jintiben to lead us into meditation. It will be a silent meditation, no music, and just listening to softly words by Jintiben. You could keep your eyes open or closed as you like. A few minutes of meditation.
I speak out my own thoughts in meditations. Normally it's in silence, but the question always is, what am I supposed to do in meditation? So I'll speak out my own thoughts to give you an idea, and let your thoughts follow the same pattern, and let's see where we go. Best way to sit is both feet on the ground and back alert, straight. Sitting quietly, I reflect on the things I've been hearing, and now I wish to experiment. Instead of looking at the world outside, I wish to see the world inside. I go deeper and deeper within the self, watching my thoughts. The speed slows down. And I choose to focus on peace. I hold peace in my mind. And peace begins to feel real. Peace begins to feel comfortable, very familiar. Peace is natural. I come to the awareness of peace and hold this awareness. And in the awareness of peace, I feel the presence of the divine, the being of light, the source of light and love. And I feel the light touching the soul. And as I begin to absorb this light within myself, I'm able to see myself clearly. And I see the goodness within the soul. And I focus on that goodness. The light of God allows me to see the goodness without ego. And there's an awareness that I need to use the good that I have to serve others, to serve the world. God's light also allows me to see the other side, the dark side. And I know that I on my own can't deal with this, but I know that with the power from the Almighty, I can make the changes that I need to make within myself. And this experience of God's presence from the source, from the being who is the supreme, pure love reaches the soul. And the power of God's love is able to heal the soul and take away sorrow. And the power of love expands my heart so that I can be generous and whoever has been the cause of sorrow, I can let go and forgive. And as I forgive, I become light, I become free. The power of love allows me to be free. And the power of love cleanses the soul so that I return to my own original, natural state of purity. And as I discover these treasures to developing within the self. I develop faith in the self. That yes, with God's help, I will have the capacity to deal with whatever may come. I'll have the strength, the stability to manage under all circumstances. Holding this awareness, I come back to the awareness of the physical dimension. But even as I come back to play my role on the world stage, I keep this awareness of peace, of love, of light, of purity with myself. Om Shanti. Thank you.